Okay, good evening. We're heading Parashat Vayera, and Bezrat Hashem will dedicate the shiur, like all the shiurim. I'll say it again and again and again till the war is finished. Bezrat Hashem. All the shiurim are dedicated to Am Yisrael Kulo, to the Noflim, to the families of the hostages, to the hostages themselves, and for the חולים, אוקיי? בעזרת השם שיהיה לרפואתם, ובכלל זה לרפואת נעמן חיים בן רחל פרידה. We're dealing today with a famous parasha. I think that Parashat Vayera, like all the first parashot of Sefer Bereshit, is one of the most interesting parasha in the Torah. It has a lot of issues, and almost every second pasuk is something very big philosophically, not even just many perushim, but a big issue. So the parasha ends with Parashat Akedah. I would not discuss it, but the parasha starts with the Abraham is sick because of the Milah, and then the angels come to visit him. Later on, they go to destroy Sodom. Actually, we have a lot of similarity between Sodom and Gaza, and it's. I heard today, before I say the following things, I heard today a question, very interesting one. I thought about it myself. Whether Abraham, we know that Abraham prays for all the evil people, and he says he makes ויכוח, an argument with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and says אולי יש 50, אולי יש 45, אולי יש 40, etc. And the question is whether Abraham cared just for the, let's say, non-religious people or atheistic people, or that had he been today, he would have cared for the Hamas people as well. Why? Because from the one side, you can say that Abraham prays for everybody, and all the people were against his ashkof, against just for pro-evil people, etc. So there is no distinction to say that even with the enemies of Am Yisrael or enemies of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he wouldn't daven to see that they come and admit HaKadosh Baruch Hu. On the second hand, we might say that it's different, because Sodom, after all, was a closed society. So once you enter it and try to host people, etc., so they disturb you. But once you don't enter the city, they don't disturb others. We don't find, even, it's not clear even explicitly what the chet of Sodom was. According to the explicit pasuk, ואנשי סדום רעים וחטאים להשם מאוד, it sounds like בן אדם למקום. It just יחזקאל פרק ט"ז, who says that ani ve'evion, yad ani ve'evion lo החזיקה, that the problem was with chesed, and the Ramban and other mefarshim take the pasuk in Yechezkel and put it here. But according to the Pshat, Sodom was ben adam lamakom, so why shouldn't Avram daven for Sodom? They just beg for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so he can pray like we daven on Yemei Noraim, that also humanity would acknowledge and admit the kingdom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the reigning of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But since we know that Sodom had a problem with Ben Adam Lachaveiro as well, it's a question why Avraham cared for them. And if he did, it might be interpreted that the same was with Sodom, Gaza today. However, you might say that Sodom, as I said before, never endangered other people, while the whole goal of Gaza is that just to endanger other people. So therefore, it just, even Abraham wouldn't help them. There is a perush that I saw that Abraham at the beginning was very towards chesed. meaning towards Rachamim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to everybody, and he didn't care whether he was evil or not. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, כי ידעתיו למען אשר יצווה את בניו ושמרו דרך השם לעשות צדקה ומשפט, tzedakah means chesed, okay, and mishpat means din. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught him that chesed as it is not enough. You have to know sometimes, even if you're a good person and davens for all humanity, you have sometimes to differentiate between good and evil, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught him that Sdom is something that stands as and you cannot daven for it. Anyway, I would like to deal with another perek Kaf Aleph, very similar to the former parasha of Lech Lecha, perek Tet Zayin, the Gerush Hagar. There it's the expulsion of Hagar, and here is the expulsion of Hagar and Ishmael. Two prakim very, very similar. Sometimes you might mix up in your mind where one is in Lech Lecha, one is in Vayera. The first one is when Ishmael is not born, and then Hagar doesn't carry the burden of being under Sarah, and therefore Sarah has to expel her, and she's in the desert, and then she sees an angel, and he tells her, go back and enslave yourself to Sarah. There we have Afsaka, Methodit, yes, and then we have Parashat Vayera with everything, and in Perek Kaf Aleph we meet again the parasha. We read it on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, as you might know. So let's say, והשם פקד את שרה כאשר אמר, ויעש השם לשרה כאשר דיבר. ותהר ותלד שרה לאברהם בן לזקוניו, למועד אשר דיבר אותו אלוקים. Okay, so Avraham now is 100, ויקרא אברהם את שם בנו הנולד לו אשר ילדה לו שרה, יצחק, ויעמוד אברהם את יצחק בנו, בן 8 ימים, כאשר ציווה אותו אלוקים. As I said, the parasha starts with the Bikur Cholim of Avraham after being circumcised in the last week's parasha, and here you have an ending for the brackets starting from Perek Yud Zayin with the Milah, and later on the being sick, and now Avraham is not only that he makes Brit Milah to himself, he makes Brit Milah to his son. Not only because of the Brit Milah here in Perek Yud Zayin, he was tamim, italech lefanai v'yeh tamim, and then he was promised to be given a son, but now he has the son. And as we know, Brit Milah in Gemara in Kiddushin, very famous, if you are circumcised, you can circumcise others. And if you learn Torah from your father, you can teach others. So it's the same thing. We have the chain. Avraham was complete. Avraham circumcised. It was God circumcised, and he was sick. He was promised a son. Here he has a son, and his son is being mahul. Excellent. So just the former psukim is just an ending to the beginning of the parasha, or even the ending of Parashat Lech. ואברהם בן 100 שנה בהיוולד לו את יצחק בנו, ותאמר שרה צחוק עשה לו אלוקים, כל השומע יצחק לי, ותאמר ממילה לאברהם העניקה בנים שרה, סקיפית, ויגדל הילד ויגמל, ויעש אברהם משתה גדול ביום יגמל את יצחק. As I said on Shabbat, we don't find anything with Ishmael. We don't find his figure at all. He doesn't do anything not good, neither good nor bad. It just exists. We see usually when we have figures in Sefer Bereshit, they do something. Noach is born, זה ינחמנו ממעשה ידינו מיד, immediately. Avraham is born, so we know something about him. Sometimes it's just a marriage, ויקחו להם נשים, שמש את אברהם שרי ושמש את נחור וכולי וכולי, but with Ishmael we don't know anything about him. The only thing that we know is ותרס סגר את בן הגר המצרית, אשר ילדה לאברהם מצחק. He doesn't have a name, he's just נלווה, כן? Annexed to his mother. ותרס שרה את בן הגר המצרית. Okay, so we have כאילו בן הגר המצרית, as I said, we deal just with בני שם. We deal just with the dynasty of Shem after the Mabul, after the Noah's period, and now we deal with the cursed one, with the Egyptian, with מצרים, the ben shel Ham. Okay, so ותרס שרה את בן הגר המצרית אשר ילדה לאברהם מצחק. And the first thing that Ishmael does is to disturb. I don't get into Chazal or Rashi that says that it's Gilui Arayot, but even if he just מצחק, laughs or disturbs him or something like this, he has some fight or confrontation with Yitzchak. Okay, so the whole existence of Ishmael is based on a confrontation with other. Who is the other? The other is Yitzchak. ותאמר לאברהם, גרש האמה הזאת ואת בנה. Again, he doesn't have a name, just the son of the ama, the son of the slave, כי לא יירש בן האמה הזאת עם בני, עם יצחק. And he has a name, and again, and again, and again, he is not called with his name. Okay, and it's very strange because the main thing is him, is not his mother. Okay, she didn't do anything. No, she did in Perek Yud Zayin, because she didn't want to undertake the reigning of Sarah. But here she didn't do anything. It's just her son. So why all the time we have a stress, and the Mikra speaks just about the mother, not the son. Vayera הדבר מאוד בעיני אברהם על אודות בנו. And another distinction, as you can see, I spoke about the fact that Ishmael is not mentioned at all, but you can see that for Abraham is bno, and for Sarah is ben Hagar hamitzrit. It's very clear, because for Abraham is his real son, he doesn't care for which wife, and for Sarah is she as a wife says that it's from a different wife. Okay, but Abraham relates to Ishmael as his son, whereas Sarah sees him as bnei Chams. Okay, ויאמר אלוקים אל אברהם, אל ירא בעיניך על הנער ועל אמתך. Pay attention to the seder, to the order. Not unlike what Sarah said על אמתך ועל הנער, הקדוש ברוך הוא said the opposite, because על הנער, for you I know that you care much more for your son and אמתך. Okay? כל אשר תאמר אליך שרה שמע בקולה, כי ביצחק יקרא לך זרע. And again, וגם את בן האמה לגוי ישימנו, כי זרעך הוא. So how can we understand? HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks to him, relates to him like Ben Ha'ama, exactly like Sarah. Okay, so what's going on with Al-Hana? Why didn't he call him Ben Ha'ama? So we might say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to Avram with two attitudes. The first one is to Abraham's attitude. For you I know that it's Na'ar, that it's your son, so Al Yara Be'enecha Al Na'ar. And later for Sarah, וגם את בן האמה לגוי ישימנו. We might say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he talks subjectively to Abraham, he talks about the Nar, because he talks face to face. But when talking objectively, without talking to Abraham, HaKadosh Baruch Hu adopts Sarah's attitude, maybe just because of כל אשר תאמר אליך שרה שמע בקולה, meaning to say that me and you will both listen to Sarah. So from now on, it won't be al anar, it will be ben ha'ama, again, like Sarah's attitude towards Ishmael. לגוי ישימנו כי זרעך. Okay, let's go on. וישכם אברהם בבוקר, ויקח לחם וחמת מים, ויתן אל הגר, שם על שכמה, okay, ואת הילד וישלחיה, ותלך ותטע במדבר באר שמה. So she wanders out, she lost her way, ויכלו המים מן החמת. Why was Avraham so stingy? Why didn't he give her more water? So it's clear that Avraham gave her a lot of water, and the Mikra, the Bible, skips here because there are few psukim that should be written. She goes here, she goes there. He estimated the way like 3-4 days, and he gave her 6 liters of water, and it took her a week. And now she ran out of water. Okay, that's clear that הפסוק is missing something. ותשלך את הילד תחת אחד השיחים. Okay, so pay attention, first of all, that we don't talk about him. He's not thirsty. I think that if I was with my son, or my son is usually thirsty before I am. Okay, because you know, when you take a baby, you take a son or a grandson. So babies, even if he was just 17 or something like this, machloket 16, 17, but he would complain about the missing of water before his mother will. And again, we see here that the Mikra doesn't talk about Ishmael, and it talks just about her. She is in the focus, a zoom in is on her, and ותשלך את הילד, she throws the boy under one of the bushes. We can talk a lot about the cruelty, about the achzariut of Ishmael, but it's very, very, very interesting, because looking back at Peret Tetzayin, we see that she has a soul, that Hagar is a human being. And the angel talks to her 3 times, and he understands that he talks to her like gently, go back and enslave yourself, and he convinces her, while here she looks as with no soul. She throws with no. I don't know any mother that will throw her kid under the bushes in order not to see. We'll see it in the next pasuk. ותלך ותשב לה מנגד הרחק כמטחווי קשת. We know that keshet is the something that his Ishmael will be, ויהי רובה קשת. Okay, so what does it mean הרחק כמטחווי קשת? If I take an arrow and a bow, okay, so let's say that they can throw the arrow 5 meters, so she set 5 meters away. So why is it כמטחווי קשת? Meaning that she went out of his realm. Okay, he will be רובה קשת, he'll be a sniper, okay, and let's say that he can do it for 100 meters, so she'll sit 100 meters away from his grasp. That's what it means. כי אמרה על ירא במות הילד ותשב מנגד ותישא את קולה ותבכה. So again and again, I don't know any person that will behave like this, even in the most, primitive society, even in the most cruel society. You won't see they're cruel against Israel, but among themselves in Gaza, I don't think they'll go and throw the babies and let them die when the mother is just cries. So what does it mean? I want to go back to the beginning and see it from another perspective. Remember that we read it, we lay in it on the first day on Rosh Hashanah. And now it was just 5 weeks ago, but it looks because of the Milchama like 10 years ago. So just remember the difference between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippurim. On Rosh Hashanah, we don't talk about Chataim. בכלל, okay? We don't mention them, we don't have al chet, and we just speak generally about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, okay? And then and we coronate Hashem. That's our Avodat Hashem on Rosh Hashanah. On Yom Kippur, we look into our hearts, and we do have to find sins, chataim, to make tshuva, to repent, etc. And it appears in the Rambam itself and in the Gemara itself. The Gemara says that on Rosh Hashanah, two are doomed to life, or chas v'shalom to the country, tzaddikim and reshaim, whereas the Beinonim are doomed just on Yom Kippur. So they have 10 days to make tshuva, and if chas v'shalom they didn't, so what happens? But if they do, Bezrat Hashem, so nichtamim nechaim. So what does it really mean? In terms of tov v'ra, we know that from the Chet Adam Arishon, as the Rambam writes in his Moreh Nevuchim, were a complexity of tov v'ra. The Rambam asks a basic question at the beginning of the Moreh Nevuchim, Chelek Aleph Perek Bet. He asks, how is it possible that Adam Arishon was created without a choice? And just Rambam says that the best thing of the best maila, the best virtue of the Adam Arishon is his choice between tov v'ra. Okay, that's what differentiated from the animals. So how is it possible that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, orders him, if you eat from the tree of Etz Hadat, then you'll be tem kelokim yodei tov v'ra. Then you'll know how to differentiate between the good and the evil. What before? You won't do anything. You just be a stupid person. So how is it possible that I was created stupid, and after eating from Etz Hadat, then I became much smarter? How is it possible? So the Rambam answers a very well-known answer, that Adam Arishon was created with the choice between emet and sheker. Okay, that was a basic creation, and Adam Arishon had the differentiation, had a difference between him and the animals by choosing between emet and sheker, but he didn't want to do the evil, because the evil was out of him. As I don't jump into the fire because I have no reason to do it, and I don't jump out of the window because I have not because it's dangerous, because it's just something I don't do. So if I go abroad and I go into a supermarket, I don't have a taiva to eat non-kosher, because I know that all the products are non-kosher, okay? So it doesn't talk to me at all. And that was Adam Arishon before the Chet. But after the Chet, says the Rambam, he moved from a philosophy of emet and sheker, from truth and false, into a system of tov v'ra, which is subjective, which is not doomed by everybody is the same. I can decide that my good is to do evil, and you can decide that your good is to do good, and therefore that's a difference. And from then on, from Chet Adam Arishon, he is full of tov and ra, and a lot of things that he does comes from his inner part of the yetzer hara, or gaiva, or what the Tnuat HaMusar calls negiot, okay, that I have some attitude towards doing it, but it doesn't come from a good place. So let's now go and see the perek in this attitude. Hashem pakad et Sarah. So Sarah has the son named Yitzchak. And Ishmael exists in the atmosphere, okay? And we know that in this house of Abraham, we have two creatures. We have Yitzchak, which is a descendant, a promised descendant, etc. And we have the tribe of Bnei Ham, as I call them. Now it's not just Ishmael, is the evil people. Who are the evil people in Abraham's house? Ben Hagar HaMitzrit and his mother. Both of them are the evil. And they're, as I said, once Ishmael is born, he starts negotiating with Yitzchak. So now we have a new game, a new battle. We have to separate between the good and the evil. Till now, the evil was separated. Hagar was the evil in Beit Avraham, and she had maybe discussion with the Isara, and we saw in Perek Zayin that she was expelled. But now we have a gush echad of the Hagar and Ishmael, and gush sheni, which is Yitzchak. He is a good, there is a bad. Why I'm not talking bad and good in because they did something bad and good. I'm talking just about their future, because we know by reading the story that one is a real descendant of Abraham and one is not, and therefore we have to differentiate between them. How do we do that? As on Rosh Hashanah, we have all the good, all the evil together. It's unlike Yom Kippur that we throw away the evil, that we admit, that we try to change it, that we promise Hashem to change the evil. On Rosh Hashanah, we don't do that. We don't say anything. So what do? We try to encompass it, le'achil oto. We try to say that all the world, all the universe will appreciate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Avraham tries to encompass the evil in his house, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, you're wrong. You have to throw away this evil. And therefore, that's the expulsion of Ha'ama Hazot Ve'et Bna. That's stage one. Now Avraham's house is clear, is clean, Ke'ilu. He has just good, he's just stayed with Yitzchak, with Sarah, and this house is a real house that will go on. Okay, but now the camera moves from Avraham's house into a different tafura background. Okay, we go to a different stage. In this stage, Avraham no longer exists. Yitzchak no longer exists. We have just we just focus on two people going in the desert. Okay, ויתן אל הגר את הילד וישלחיה, just Hagar and her son. And as we saw in the beginning, it's not two figures, it's one mixture. Okay, because we don't differentiate between Hagar to her son. All the time, Ben Hagar HaMitzrit, Ben Hagar גרש האמה הזאת ובנה, even הקדוש ברוך הוא talks about הנער ואמתך, it's all, they're just one chativa, one unit. Okay, and you have, when you talk about one unit and you have two figures, we have to differentiate between the good and the evil. And therefore, as long as they walk all the way together, it's evil and good in the beyachad, and that's a problem. Ishmael will not be, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not help him because he's with his mother. Just when he'll be separated from his mother, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu would be able to look at him, to see him in his agony, וישמע אלוקים אל כל הנער באשר הוא שם, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be able to help him and take pity on him. And therefore, that enables us to understand why she makes such a weird thing to throw him under one of the bushes. I'm not talking that she knew what she was doing. Maybe she was cruel. Maybe she was, depressed. Maybe she didn't know what she was doing. But philosophically, you have here, till they go all the way together, there is a problem. Since Avraham started his way together, try to encompass, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no, you have to throw away the evil. Now we have the bad, the evil, meaning to say Hagar and Ishmael together, and we'll have to separate, to differentiate between them, and just then we'll be able to help Ishmael. If you listen well, you might hear the voice of the Akedah in the following perek, Be'ilchu shnehem yachdav. Okay, then you have all the difference between Abraham and Yitzchak, and even though it's all together, and we know on Rosh Hashanah, on the one hand we say Akedat Yitzchak, the Akedah is named on his name. On the other hand, we say on the bracha, V'akedat Yitzchak lezar'o shel Avraham tizkor, כן? The bracha is named on Avraham. Okay, so we have two attitudes towards Akedah we won't talk it about now, but even though we are zoiche to one big unity, but one big V'ilchu shnehem yachdav, here it's mamash the same. It's mamash the contrary. Sorry, we have to throw away the evil. It's mamash like Yom Kippur, like purification. Just by making the difference, then you come to salvation. Okay, so she throws away the son under Achad Asichim, as Isa said. She sits awake in Tachavei Keshet, away from his grasp, because he has his own realm, she has her own realm. Then they're separated. Vateshev mineged, vatisa et kola vatevk, vaishma Elokim et kol hanar. And immediately HaKadosh Baruch Hu listens to him. So I think that in a way here we see, by reading it, by learning on Rosh Hashanah, and we think that about ourselves, that we have a lot of good and a lot of bad things. And on Rosh Hashanah, it's just the beginning of Aseret Yemei Tshuva. We have Elul, but in Elul we don't, Elul is not from Matera, and in Elul we don't have time to really look. And you come to Rosh Hashanah and you're full of Chataim, and you don't know how to stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you just know that Rosh Hashanah is really a Notzar created for this, for coronating Hashem, even with your Chataim. Okay? But then you read the Parsha, and the Parsha says, yes, there is an attitude like you, but don't think that for the long run you'll succeed with encompassing the Chataim. That's not what is going to happen here. Just by separating them into two parts, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu would listen to you, and you'll be able to stay evil like Ishmael and to be salvated. Another thing that you see here, Vayishma Elokim et kol hanar. That's the first time on the history that Ishmael did something independent. Okay, because as I said, till now he just fought with Yitzchak, disturbed him, did nothing at all. That's the first and only thing that he would make, just when Abraham would pass away. So then Ishmael would bury him with Yitzchak. But here you have Ishmael Elokim et kol hanar, meaning that he was screaming, that he was crying. And it's weird why the pasuk used nar or yeled, okay, because ותשלח את הילד, על ערב מות הילד, but here it's nar, but never mind. It depends which age he was, but he did something. He cried, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu heard his name. I saw something very frightening in Reb Chaim Vital this week, that based on the last week's parsha, it sounds as if Ishmael's name is because Shama Elokim El Onyech. HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened to Hagar's cry, and therefore he would be named Ishmael. According to this pasuk, Kishama Elokim El Kol Hana'ar B'asher Hu Sham, we have another stamp to the name that Ishmael is called upon HaKadosh Baruch Hu listening to him, not to his mother, but to him. And again, you can now understand that because we made a separation between him and the mother, in the, even in the edible meaning, and now it's two yeshuyot, it's two entities. Therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can listen to him, not just to his mother. But Reb Chaim Vital says something, a third meaning of Ishmael. He says that Ishmael, his whole goal in life is to make problems to Am Israel, and because of the tzorus that he makes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he brings us to tefillah, he brings us to cry, to ze'aka, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu shomea otanu. So his whole mission in life is to make us cry. Okay? Ishmael hu et Am Israel, not Ishmael, not his mother. HaKadosh Baruch Hu would listen to us just because of the cry of Ishmael. That's what Reb Chaim Vital writes. Okay, so קומי שאי את הנער והחזיקי את ידך בו, כי לגוי גדול אשימנו. Okay, לכאורה it's מיותר. Why should he tell her? Okay, if he comforts her and says, okay, שמאי אלוקים על כל הנער באשר הוא שם, it's very, ויפקח אלוקים את עיניה ותראה באר מים. We don't need give him a hand. What for? But now we can understand that after separating into two entities, then he was blessed. Now you can hold him back. והחזיק את ידך בו, כי לגוי גדול אשימנו, ויפקח אלוקים את עיניה, ותראה באר מים, etc. etc. ויהי אלוקים את הנער ויגדל, וישב במדבר, ויהי רובה קשת, וישב במדבר פרן, and who is marrying him out? His mother. Okay? He doesn't marry a girl. His mother makes him a shidduch. Okay, why? Because the whole parasha started and ends with the same thing. He is one unity with his mother. Maybe a symbiotic relation that he doesn't succeed in getting detached from her. She doesn't succeed as well. But just for 1 second she did it when she threw him away. And that's the real thing when HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes pity on him. What is the message of all of this? Sometimes HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the history, HaKadosh Baruch Hu all the time makes the ra, the evil, in order to do something. But the evil has his own role and his own salvation just when he is well mezuheh, when you know about it, when you differentiate it, when you define it, when it's not mixed with other things. Then Ishmael stands on the side alone, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu can take pity on him, then he has a role, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes his blessing, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu can join the whole reality of the Metzias with the existence of Ishmael. But if the evil is mixed, if we don't know to define it or to find it, so we have a problem. So even the evil, it's not good even for the evil. The evil disturbs us. The evil makes a lot of riots in us, but we don't know how to define it. And then the evil doesn't have doesn't come to the end of it. Rav Kook says something very interesting, that he says that any bad, any evil, before the end of it, he wants to exterminate himself. כאילו unconsciously, or בתת ההכרה, the evil knows that his role in life ends, and therefore he wants כאילו to be exterminated. He wants, because his extermination is kvod hashamayim. Okay, so he really makes his, how do you say, we called it in Hebrew shirat habarbur, the swan song. So he gives his best speech before he dies, because he really understands that he is now alone, that his role in history comes to an end. he gives the last deed, and then he is exterminated. That's what happens with Ishmael, and that's what Bezrat Hashem happened with Zerah, and that's what happens with Zerah in Yom Kippur. By secluding it and putting it on the side out of us and finding it in our deeds, then we can exterminate it, Zerah, and deal with it. Because in Rosh Hashanah it's too early. It's all one big mess. Just on Yom Kippur we we finish it by separating the good and the evil, and we just go on with the good. Good evening.
Don't we, but what do we attach the idea of Lu Yishmael Yichyeh Lefanecha? That when Abraham says Halavai Yishmael Yichyeh Lefanecha, how does that come into this?
You mean at the end of Parashat Lech Lecha? Okay. Lu Yishmael Yichyeh Lefanecha. So,
and Hashem says,
Bepshat is not, there is nothing. Avraham just says that Alevai I won't lose my own son, don't promise me the second. But I think that again, it has Ke'ilu, Ishmael has an entity before Yitzchak exists, because all his entity is belu, is bekeilu. Okay, Avraham is not even sure that the existence of Ishmael is solid, and therefore he said, "Lu halevai, that what I have, I will have." Okay, but by the birth of Yitzchak, the existence of Ishmael is solid, because then he has a role in life to make problems to Yitzchak, but then, as I said, he has a role in life. But when will he do it? When will he have his? You have to separate him from Yitzchak, because he makes him problems. Okay, very nice, but he has to find his own identity, and there, just when he is secluded again, then he for sure exists. Then when Akadosh Baruch Hu Vayishma Elokim et kol hana'ar, and it's not luich, it's not alevai, it's for sure he'll live. Akadosh Baruch Hu will live, but then at the end he'll just be accompanied to Yitzchak, and Yitzchak would be the main thing.
One more comment. I mean, we know that from the time of earlier time, from the flood, that Mitzrayim is cursed. Canaan is cursed, and Hagar comes from Mitzrayim, Canaan, and Yishmael is a product of that. He's a product. So basically, he's cursed. So the idea of him being thrown away from Hagar, does that mean he's freed?
Yeah. Avraham tried. I said it on Shabbat that by the marriage to Hagar, Avraham tried as a Ben Shem to marry out a Ben Ham, in order to make a big union, big unity of the. And Akadosh Baruch Hu again tells him that it's not the way, and he is thrown away. Meaning that now he is cursed. Now him and his mother, that's the first stage that I said today, just the evil. But even in the cursed, you have some giborim of the stories, and some some evil. So in the second story, Ishmael is Ke'ilu the good one, because Hakadosh Baruch Hu just wants to focus on him, and his mother is Ke'ilu the evil. She didn't do anything bad. I mean, maybe cruel, but she didn't do anything bad. But she's just set on because she's not a gibor. Okay, so we call it in literature the anti-gibor. He is a gibor and she is an anti-gibor. She just do strange things. But yes, I think that the whole expulsion of both of them, meaning to say that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is not interested in. He told Avraham that your way of embracing all the humanity would not last. You have to separate and to know what's good, what's not. I think so.
Important thing. Yeah. Sure.
Erev Tov.
Right.
Good night.
לילה טוב.
לילה טוב.